What up, book lovers? It is G Swiss here, and I'm here today to talk about some books that are currently on my wish list. If you didn't know, this is a 7 on Sunday topic, and I'm the host of 7 on Sunday. I will link the Goodreads page down in the description where you can check it out and you can participate in a topic in the future, or you can suggest a topic. Before I proceed with this video, I would like to note that yes, my audio quality does sound different, and that is because I have not plugged in my microphone. I have been having issues with my microphone, and it most likely has to do with the cord. So I guess we're back to square one with my audio quality. I hope you guys don't mind while I figure out the technical difficulties in the background. But yes, we're just gonna have to do with this at the moment. So this 7 on Sunday topic was actually inspired by the fact that we are getting closer to Christmas. Spooky season is over. We are now focusing on the Christmas period. However, this does not have to be a Christmas related topic for those who do not celebrate Christmas. I purposefully did not post Christmas wish list as the topic. It could be your birthday wish list, or it could just be your bookish wish list in general and you want to share like the top books on your wish list. I will link my personal Amazon wish list down in the description so you guys can see the full thing. However, I'm going to be talking about the top books that are on my wish list currently. I guess without further ado, I'm gonna get straight into the books that I have at the top of my wish list at the moment that I really desperately want. So what did I put in my notes app? The first book I have on my wish list that I want to talk about is actually a book I recently put on my wish list because I've seen it talked about a few times here on the book internet, and I really wanted it when it first came out. However, it was first independently published, but it has just been picked up by a publisher, and it might be up for pre-order or they might be selling it at the moment. I really don't know. It's When Gracie Met the Grump. This is by Mariana Zapata. I've actually wanted to read Mariana Zapata's books since From Lukov with Love blew up. It blew up in the book community months ago when people in the book community were starting to make fan theories about these ice skaters and essentially projected this love story onto them based on this one book. So yes, I have indeed been fascinated with From Lukov with Love. I do have that book on my shelf because it got picked up by a publisher, therefore it was much affordable. With When Gracie Met the Grump, I wanted to pick this one up because I heard it was a superhero romance that very much focuses on the romance. I personally grew up reading American comic books. I more had a focus on Marvel comic books. Occasionally I'd pick up a DC one. I absolutely adored superheroes, and I kind of just wanted to see them represented more in fiction. And I feel like When Gracie Met the Grump is everything I would have wanted in a novel 5 years ago. It's the kind of nostalgic thing that I desired and I still want. This one is a superhero romance novel, and apparently there is a huge slow burn. But the reason why I haven't purchased it yet was because the independently published paperback ended up being over $50 everywhere I looked, and only recently did it get picked up by a publisher, and it's like less than half that price here in Australia. I am personally so relieved because I want a way to afford a physical copy of the book without having to pay $50 for a paperback. That is a big reason why I have not purchased it yet, and I am very much looking forward to getting to it because I've heard nothing but great things about this book. Even personally, like I've had personal recommendations for When Gracie Met the Grump, even from people who have no idea that I grew up reading Marvel comics. The next books that I would put at the top of my wish list is pretty much any edition of This Vicious Grace in hardback that I can possibly get. So yes, I have the Fairy Loot edition, which I'm not gonna lie, I think this is a popular opinion. The Fairy Loot edition is the most underwhelming edition. I think it's the yellow personally. I mean, the yellow isn't bad. I like the way that the yellow is incorporated in the US cover because it's incorporated in fruit form. It's not the entire cover. I love the cover image of the US edition, and I would have seriously purchased the US edition at the earliest chance I possibly could if I had no self-control. I still want it, but I have a little bit of self-control at the moment. I'm still thinking about it. I love the original UK cover because I love the cream color with the little objects that are on the actual book cover. I reckon that that design and the coloring is absolutely perfect. I also very much love the Fae Crate edition, and I missed out on the Fae Crate sale because I believe that subscribers had early access to it. I was so devastated because the Fae Crate edition cover is illustrated by one of my favorite illustrators of all time, that is Alice Maria Power. I adore her art. She's the illustrator of the Bookish Box Bargainer trilogy and the Air Comes Monster Rise series. I'm devastated I missed out. I love this book so much. I was completely obsessed when I first read it. I fell head over heels for it, and I just knew immediately that I needed any edition I possibly could get of this book, and I'm pretty sure that the only one that is easy enough to reach is the US edition. And speaking of duplicates, yes, guys, I want King of Battle and Blood in the original edition because I have the Bookish Box Special Edition, and the Bookish Box have not confirmed when they're gonna put Queen of Myths and Monsters on sale. So yes, of course, I did pre-order the original edition of Queen of Myths and Monsters without having purchased the original edition of King of Battle and Blood. I want it in hardback. I mean, I pretty much want all of these in hardback if I can get them in hardback. I just love hardbacks. The reason why is for pure aesthetic reasons. You see all those hardbacks behind me? I want to keep that aesthetic. I would personally want to purchase this one in hardback, but I would also want to purchase the original edition in hardback because I've pre-ordered Queen of Myths and Monsters in hardback. So consistency, it's key. On top of all that, King of Battle and Blood is one of the best books I've read this year. I mean, in my personal opinion, yes, it is trashy. I did not expect it to have a plot, but boy, it did have a plot, and I appreciated it a lot. And Queen of Myths and Monsters is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. That is saying a lot because I wasn't sure about this book to begin with, and it's just amazing how it's just instantly become a favorite of mine. And let's break it up with a book slash series that I don't yet own copies of, but I really do want to buy. But I want specifically in the US editions because I prefer the US covers. And that, my friends, is the Spoiler Alert series by Olivia Dade. Spoiler Alert being the first book. For some reason, I do prefer the US covers to the series. I mean, if I did have the opportunity to be subscribed to Afterlight, and if I got the UK editions through Afterlight, then yes, I would happily take them. They are very pretty, but I prefer the US editions, and I mean, look, there's no chance of me getting the Afterlight editions now because they're not selling them. So I do want the US editions. They only come in paperback. I mean, usually I will settle for a UK paperback, but in this case, the UK paperbacks are a little bit underwhelming compared to the US paperbacks. So I have the US paperbacks on my wish list. I specifically want them. I love the art on them. I love the style of them. I would absolutely appreciate them if I ever had the chance of getting them. And next up, I've technically put this author on my wish list, but I've decided to mention one of their books, or just like any of their books in general, like I will accept. However, I'm going to mention Escaping Wonderland by Tiffany Roberts. This author is actually not an author. It's a pseudonym for two authors. They, from what I've heard, are a couple writing steamy romance fantasy novels. And to that I say, more power to you. That is amazing. That is incredible. You know, I mean, I've considered doing that with Camilo myself, but I don't think he wants to write romance. So there's that. I want to read Escaping Wonderland specifically from them. I also want to read a few other books from them, but I'm just going to mention this one because I believe this was the first one I got on audio from them. And also, I really do like the cover, so I might as well get the physical edition eventually. So I have put the physical edition on my wish list. This apparently is a steamy reimagining of Alice in Wonderland, where I believe Alice and the Mad Hatter have a blossoming romance. I hear that it's creepy, it's a little eerie. I wanted to try it based on people's recommendations, but I think I'm more compelled to try books under the pseudonym of Tiffany Roberts, knowing that they are written by a couple. I find that really fascinating. I don't know if I've ever experienced that before. I could be wrong. I mean, I could look into the other pseudonyms that I've read from, but I think I'm even more fascinated in reading from Tiffany Roberts, knowing that Tiffany Roberts is a pen name for a couple. And also, Alice in Wonderland is one of Camilo's favorite books and stories of all time, and I have wanted to get into Alice in Wonderland as a result. So I do want to try it out. And yes, of course, I have to add some Katie Robert here. I want the Sabine Valley book. So if you guys don't know, Sabine Valley is actually a spin-off to the Wicked Villain series. I don't think they are fairy tale reimaginings themselves. However, Sabine Valley is alluded to a few times within the Wicked Villain series. It's another place within the same world, and there are currently 2 novels set in this series. I had no idea that this was a spin-off when I first heard about it. I mean, I looked at Katie Roberts' entire catalog when I first was reading her books, or when I was just pretty much first discovering who she was. I loved the Wicked Villain series, personally. I loved some of the characters that came from Sabine Valley, so I kind of want to know more about Sabine Valley, considering that it seems to be some sort of mysterious place that is referred to a few times, however, never really fully addressed. So I'm really happy that Katie Robert has started writing a spin-off series set in Sabine Valley. I think the reason why I've been putting off off purchasing these books for quite some time is because there's only been 2 books in this series for quite some time, and I believe that this is meant to be a 7-book series. And yes, I do understand that Katie Robert has publishing deadlines with the Dark Olympus series and maybe some other book series that have been picked up by a publisher for her, and Dark Olympus is going to be a 10-book series, so she is already committed to that. When it comes to some of her independently published series, however, I have less patience. I want to read them, but I know that Dark Olympus is most likely going to be completed beforehand. We will see. Sabine Valley is definitely one that I want to get to, but I think I'm even more motivated to get to it because it's a spin-off to Wicked Villains, but I am not as motivated to get to it at the same time because there hasn't been a new book in the series in a while. So, of course, a few days after filming this video, I find out that Sabine Valley has been delayed indefinitely. I'm really hoping that Katie Robert picks it up again eventually. I understand, once again, due to publishing deadlines, but yeah, I'm really sad because I want more of the Wicked Villains sphere of things. Fingers crossed, eventually she will write the other 5 books in the series. And the second last book series that I'm going to mention that is on my wish list that I have as a priority is a book series that I wanted to purchase immediately. I didn't, and I think it got picked up by a publisher, but I want these books in hardback so bad. I think that the Bookish Box might be doing special editions of them, or at least the first book, because it is a monthly book. I'm here for it regardless, whether it is the original edition or whether it is the Bookish Box special edition, really don't know. It's coming in one of my monthly boxes, I'm pretty sure. And that, my friends, is the High Mountain Court. I have wanted to read the series for quite some time because I've just heard rave reviews about it, and I just know, based on my love for fantasy romance, I'm going to love this one. For a while, I could not purchase it because it got picked up by a publisher. I still want to purchase the hardbacks, but I'm pretty sure that due to them being picked up by a publisher, I have to wait for the publisher to bring out their printed copies, because from this end, it very much looks like that print on demand has stopped, and I will have to wait for the publisher to put it out there. I don't know at the top of my head whether there was a pre-order date or not, but I remember that last time I checked, there was. We will see. I've wanted to read this one for a very long time, so that's why I put it on my wish list. I think it has to do with Fae, and you know me with Fae. I love reading about Fae. I mean, the Fair Isle Trilogy being one of those series, the Bargainer Trilogy being another one of those series, ACOTAR, you name it. I've decided I want more Fae in my life, so I want to bring the High Mountain Court into my life. And the final book series that I have on my priority wish list is, yes, a book series that I do, in fact, already own, and it is one of my favorite book series ever, but I want them in hardback because they are so special to me. That, my friends, is the Maladiction Trilogy by Danielle L. Jensen. I, for some reason, already know that this book series is not going to get special edition treatment. Maybe someone might pick it up for special editions, and I could be wrong. However, from what I've seen, this book series is not that loved, nor is it that hyped, and I wish that it was that loved and hyped because I love the series a lot. I desperately want special editions for the series. However, I have to be realistic, and I do have to realize that this book series is probably never going to get special editions based on the fact that the series is not that hyped. So I want hardbacks of it. I have the paperbacks of the new covers, and you know what? I do love them. I want to display them more, of course. However, for some reason, once again, for consistency's sake, I love hardbacks. I love them on my shelves, and when I purchase a series in hardback, a lot of the time that has to do with the fact that it is from one of my favorite authors or it's one of my favorite series. This series is from one of my favorite authors, and it is one of my favorite series of all time. And I don't care whether the hardbacks have the same covers as the paperbacks. I just want them for the sake of having one of my favorite series of all time in hardback. I know to some of you guys that might be a waste of money, but it is one of my favorite series of all time, and I would want to own it in hardback. I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay to the end of the video, leave me the green heart emoji. And if you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. My Gswizzle books on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. I'm at Gswizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it into double. Started out with half and I flipped it into double.